ripping off his jersey, Hulk Hogan style, and the frustration is palpable. I think everyone feels it. Double overtime. And I guess the thing that sticks out to me first and foremost is I don't know if you folks, for you folks who did not watch the game, Steve Kerr on the final possession, which resulted in LeBron James. First of all, anyone could have predicted the final play for the Los Angeles Lakers. The ball was going to go in LeBron James's hands. He was going to take that final shot. And Pajemski ended up on him initially. He blows by him. Jonathan Kuminga, who had a great game, but he just whiffed on that assignment there. LeBron blows by him. So then Draymond Green is the last line of defense, and Green fouls him because the alternative was going to be a layup. But if you were paying attention to what I just told you, I mentioned Brandon Pajemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and Draymond Green. The other two players on the floor for that final possession were Stephen Curry and Corey Joseph. Corey Joseph was in the game at the end of the first overtime as well. Steve Kerr, for some reason, thinks Corey Joseph is a great defensive player. That is news to me. And even if he has the ability to stay in front of other players, last I checked, he's still just 6 feet 2 inches tall. Steve Kerr has an utter aversion to size. I don't understand the why of that. Logically, it makes some sense offensively because he wants speed for his motion offense. But defensively, how the hell does it make sense to play at the end of a game when you're up by 1? You need a stop. The other team is huge. The Lakers are one of the biggest teams in the NBA. And your defense for that final possession is Corey Joseph, Stephen Curry, who, by the way, Kerr did not have in the game at the end of the first. He brought in Corey Joseph for Stephen Curry. That's news to me that Corey Joseph is a better defensive player than Stephen Curry. I mean, if the decision was made to give Steph a breather at the end of the first overtime, all right, I guess. But what is the reasoning for having Corey Joseph in the game in a pivotal moment where the outcome was determined? And I saw that lineup in there again. The Golden State Warriors gave up 33 first quarter points. Last game they played, they gave up 40 first quarter points. The Golden State Warriors made an adjustment in their starting lineup tonight, which was a good adjustment. It was one of the rare Steve Kerr moves I can endorse. He had Steph and Clay as a starting backcourt, your Splash Brothers. He had Kuminga back in the starting lineup, and he also had Draymond Green back in the starting lineup to go along with Andrew Wiggins. That was your starting 5. I endorse that. But 6 minutes into the quarter, you take Kuminga out, and for a good portion of the rest of the quarter, you're back to this 3-point guard nonsense. It's one thing to do it in the first quarter. I mean, first of all, when these games end as close as they do, every single decision you make throughout is going to be pivotal. So any minute you're giving to Corey Joseph or to any diminutive player can have drastic ramifications. But at the end of a game, I mean, has Kevon Looney just become that irrelevant? Corey Joseph is now a better defender than Kevon Looney? Corey Joseph is going to give you a better shot defensively. Quiiiz Jackson Davis, one of the only players on our team, gives you rim protection and size. Steve Kerr just hates bigs. I mean, you look at like the bench for this team tonight. Dario Saric, Kevon Looney, and Trayce Jackson Davis. If my math here in front of me, if the stats from my box score, courtesy of ESPN, while I wait for the NBA's to update theirs, because that's the one I always rely on. Oh, there we go. The NBA one is now available. Good. If my math is correct, Dario Saric played 15 minutes. Kevon Looney played 5 minutes. Trayce Jackson Davis played 5 minutes. That's 25 minutes of a 58-minute game given to your quote unquote bigs. He just doesn't like bigs. And the results show. Now, a lot of people are going to talk about officiating in this game, rightfully so. I actually took a ton of notes that highlight some of the gross incompetency by NBA officials in this game. I thought the worst part of it, without any doubt in my mind, was I believe it was in the either late fourth quarter or in that first overtime where there was an inadvertent whistle by the referees. I kid you not, the Lakers missed the shot. The ball ends up in Klay Thompson's hands. The referee blows the whistle inadvertently, meaning for no good reason. He just blew the whistle, stopped the action, says, whoops, my bad. And then instead of giving the ball to the Warriors, they pile on to the insult by saying that it was a loose ball when the ball was clearly in Klay Thompson's hands, and they made it a jump ball. Now, the Warriors won the jump somehow miraculously, and that one play did not ultimately cost them, but it symbolized the gross incompetency tonight from the officials. In fact, I'll get into everything real quick that they did. That was just, that at least I wrote down, that was just complete lunacy. The fact that Klay Thompson fouled out, the fact that Andrew Wiggins fouled out, Jonathan Kuminga was playing with 5 fouls for both overtimes in the end of the fourth quarter. They called, this was maybe this is more egregious. They called a lane violation. A lane violation. That means they accused, in this case, Draymond Green of crossing the line before the ball hit the rim on a second free throw attempt. That was missed, by the way. They got a second opportunity. They made that free throw to make it up. In a 1-point game, things like that matter. They called a lane violation, a type of violation that you could call that every single free throw. And with 3 minutes to play in this game, in a tight pivotal game, they called a lane violation on Draymond Green. There was a late foul near the end on Steph, which was utter BS.